Hi, I'm Peter Rose, founder of Longwood Currency Trading. How do you learn to trade Forex? What's the best way to learn how to trade Forex? What's that process if you're looking for that as a beginner, or if you're an intermediate trader, you've been trading for a while but you're not having the success that you need to have and you're thinking maybe there's something missing in your education. What steps do you need to go through in order to learn how to trade correctly? There's two ways. One is you do it yourself, or number two, you learn from somebody else. You get a mentor. You take a course and have a mentor. Now, I'm not going to talk a lot about getting a course or anything like that, because if you're just watching this single video, you need to look at other videos that I've done, because I spend a lot of time talking about the need for you to really have a mentor and somebody that's been over that path, that's lost a lot of money and knows what not to do, and also is an expert in education, in conveying information. Being a coach or a mentor is as big of a skill as the thing that's being done. So it's very difficult to find somebody who's really good at something and who can teach it. I can pitch my services. That's where my skills come in, is that I'm a good educator as well as knowing what I'm doing as far as the different things that I've done. I spent 50 years in teaching martial arts, over 50 years teaching martial arts, software engineer for 33 years, real estate investor for 40. I know how to convey information, and I've been looking at the currency market since 2007. This is August of 2024, so it isn't just like I fell off the truck. But this isn't a pitch for my services, because I do it differently than everybody. I have a course that's a manual, but I also teach the person directly. I don't just have a manual. That isn't the way that is the most effective way from an educational standpoint to do things. If you want to learn from me, you learn from me, not some freaking book that I wrote or something like that. That's the way I do it. If you want to trust yourself to a $49.95 video course that you get on Udemy, or somebody's got their $500 or $1,000 course that they want to sell you, it's a PDF file or it's an online course, fine, go ahead and do that. And I've already talked about the downfalls of trying to learn it that way. Neurosurgeons don't learn how to be neurosurgeons from a book. Accountants don't learn how to do accounting from a book. Welders don't learn how to weld from a book. And traders shouldn't learn how to trade from a book either. But for some reason, you think you can read a PDF file and you're a friggin' expert. So the mentorship, of the two ways, you can learn it on your own, and you can, or you can have a mentor and a course, and I would suggest that that's the way for you to do it. If you look at all of my videos, that talks about the mentor, so I don't need to do that now in this video. How do you do it if you're trying to learn this stuff on your own? I've talked abstractly before, but you got to learn what the Forex market is and what the purpose of it is and all that other kind of stuff. And you can sort of get an idea of that if you read the right books. Of course, there's a gazillion books out there. You have to know which books to read. And so what I did is I read them all. And so I can be a guide to you in that. As a student, I refer books. I mean, books have a lot of value, but without somebody to talk to about that stuff, they have value, but not enough value for you to be a successful trader, where you're risking your family's money in order to replace your job income. That skill isn't going to come from reading a book. In any event, the books and the book knowledge that you gain builds a foundation of information. So you got to read all the books that are out there. You just got to read everything. And you can't stop in the middle of that and say, oh, Jankowski says to do this, and Zolman and Brooks and all the other authors that are out there, to name just a couple. You can't just stop at one and go, oh, this is how you're going to do that. Because they're teaching mostly systems. Because how do you teach principles in a book? It's very difficult to do that. And so you'll find that most books talk about indicators or fundamental analysis or the London Open or all that sort of stuff, engulfing candle patterns or whatever. If you read enough of those books and watch enough of those types of videos, you'll be asking yourself, well, you're talking about this particular indicator and you're picking this engulfing candle pattern here as a signal to do X. But I see other engulfing candle patterns in that chart frame within the previous 15 hours or so. Why didn't you pick that pattern? So there's more to it than the patterns and the stuff. By reading the literature that's out there, you'll get a feeling for what the Forex market is, what the problems are that all these people are facing. I have a PDF document, it's a 30-page document or something, that I send out for free to people who request it. It's called 7 Steps to Forex Trading or something like that. And it deals with 7 issues that I ran into in my trading that caused me great grief and how I had to change the way that I looked at that issue and what I have suggested for myself as to how to deal with those issues. And so by looking at what other people have read, you'll begin to pick out what the issues are. And it's from those issues that you'll figure out what the problems are. What are the major problems? There are only a few problems. They just come in all kinds of different shades. You could say red, but there's all kinds of variations and gradations in red before you get to a burgundy. Okay, what do you call it? It's kind of a burgundy, kind of a red, kind of a, you know what I mean? So you have to have the basic intelligence if you're trying to do this on your own. You have to have an educational background behind you to understand how to study. If you haven't gone through college or you haven't gone through a rigorous community college or some kind of two-year technical program or a 6-month technical program to be a welder or a hazmat for CDL licensing, driving in the United States, then you really don't know how to study. You don't know how to learn from books. And so it'd be very difficult for you to read all that material and then to pick out the nodes, the key things to think about. And that's really what the mentor does for you, is here's a reading assignment, and what did you think about this? And you comment on that, and then the mentor says, oh, well, that brings up a thought in my mind. What did you think about that? That's the educational process. But it starts with a broad-based understanding of how to educate yourself. You have this infinite amount of information that's out there. Well, what do you do with that? How do you filter that? So if you don't have that kind of an education, to think that you're going to be able to learn how to trade currencies on your own is ludicrous. Just don't. It's much easier to learn how to play pass line craps. It's only 1.41% against you. Just play craps. You'll have a much better chance of success than you will in trading currencies. But if you're going to do it on yourself, you're going to have to read a lot of stuff. Before you talk to anybody, you're going to have to read a lot of stuff. And you're going to have to watch the charts. Don't trade, just watch the charts. As soon as you start trading and not knowing what you're doing, you'll start developing ideas. And you'll be developing habits and thoughts. And those will probably be wrong. But because you don't have enough basic information behind you, after a while you've lost enough money to look at the thing that you're doing and go, well, somewhere I remember reading about this stuff. Nobody talks about doing it this way. Well, that must not be the way to do it. Well, what should I do? Well, it should be sort of like, and then you can find something in the literature that will maybe address that. This is not something that you're going to be able to do in 6 months. You're probably looking at 3 or 4 years of reading and study without trading to get the feel of trading itself. Because before you can trade the Forex market, you need to learn how to trade. Before you can trade commodities or futures, you're going to have to learn how to trade. Before you can trade penny stocks or growth stocks, you're going to have to learn how to trade. If you're going to invest in stocks or you're going to invest in real estate, you first have to understand the difference between investing and trading. And that takes study and it takes time. When I started in real estate, one of my karate students was a real estate broker. And I mean, I had lived in houses before, but I didn't know anything about buying and selling real estate or even investing in real estate. And so we would go out for beers after class and we'd talk about it. I'd go down to his office and watch what he was doing. I said, this is what I want to do. I pulled up a chair and I sat in the office. The owner of the real estate brokerage firm said, we're going to have to send you a 1099 or a W-2 or something because you just spend all your time here. You just parked out here. I was learning. I was listening to this guy talking on the phone. I figured out some of the terminology, and so I went out and I studied and I got a salesperson's real estate license so that I knew what he knew as far as the real estate brokerage business. But then, because he was also an investor, I began to talk to him about investing. And his friends were investors, and I got involved in that crowd, and I talked to them about investing. And in the meantime, I had read about 30 books about real estate and real estate investing and real estate maintenance. And I mean, when I do something, I go all in. I don't screw around. This was probably 3 or 4 months after starting my discussion with him. I bought my first house. As a matter of fact, I bought my first house from him. So that's the start that you're going to have to do. If you have some educational background, so you know how to study, then this reading process could go from a 4-year period to maybe a 2-year period, as long as you know how to read. There are courses that you can take in speed reading, which I would suggest that you do, because by reading fast, you accumulate the important information and all the rest of the stuff falls aside. That sounds counter to your intuitive thinking, but it's true. And so you can laugh at that, and you can poke along and read all the adjectives and articles and adverbs and get lost and miss out on what the whole rest of the paragraph is about. But if you know how to read fast, you know how to study, you know how to accumulate information from reading books, you know how to take notes, and you know how to, as you're reading along, looking at the world around you, whatever world that is that you're trying to learn about, as to how that might be applicable to what you're seeing, for example, in trading on the screen, because you've got your screen up all the time and you've picked out a currency pair and you're going to follow it, and you're going to learn about technical analysis, you're going to learn about fundamental analysis, you're going to learn about trading itself, you're going to learn all this kind of stuff. But what you won't learn is that you don't need to know any of that stuff in order to trade currencies. There's some stuff that you do need to learn, and I teach that in about a 4-week class of working with it. It's just stuff. But from there, the consulting goes on to show the person not only that's the what, and a little bit of the how in about 4 weeks. But that's not once a week for, you know, you got to really be willing to work at this stuff if you're going to do it with me. But this is a process. I'm not pitching my consulting for you because it's expensive. It's more expensive than what you'll find out there because I know what I'm doing as far as teaching. In any event, you would need to accumulate all that information while you're looking at the chart to see, oh, I'm reading about engulfing candle patterns. Let me look at the chart and see about how many times these engulfing candle patterns show up, and would they work without trading, without taking positions. You study fundamental analysis and you go, man, there's just so much about the economies of these different countries. I don't know how I could ever comprehend that. That's called studying macroeconomics. I have 3 books on macroeconomics that I would refer to people, not because we're learning macroeconomics in order to trade currencies, but when after you learn how to trade currencies and you're good at it and you're consistently making money, then you need a backdrop of deeper information so that you become a better trader. But you don't need any of that stuff. You don't need indicators. You don't need anything in order to learn how to trade, and then to learn how to trade currencies. Because trading's trading, whether you're trading stocks, commodities, old tires, cars, whatever. And you have to learn that as you're learning all this stuff from the books. You have to learn what trading is. What's the differential between trading and what you're trying to trade as the thing that you're trading? Just as I was explaining as I was learning real estate. I was learning investing as well as the real estate, but I didn't understand investing while I was studying the real estate. I was just learning the stuff. But I read enough stuff to realize that the stuff wasn't going to be enough, that I had to learn something bigger than that. It was the box that contained the stuff. And the box that contains the stuff is called investing, or in regard to the trading currencies, the stuff of indicators and fundamental analysis and how you size your bank and all that. That's the stuff inside the box of understanding how to trade itself, is this stuff. Once you understand trading, you can trade stocks and commodities and do the DAX and gold and whatever you want to do. But if you learn how to trade gold, you may not be able to map those skills to currencies, because currencies are a little unique. They are very, very learn how to trade oriented. It really requires you to know how to trade. Whereas if you're doing stocks, you really need to know fundamental analysis. You really do need to know that. And I don't regard technical analysis in any trading discipline as being valid. There are certain things that would be called technical in nature that you do need to learn and that are applicable to trading across the board, but that's what you're looking for. You're looking for trading across the board type of things as opposed to specifics to currencies, for example. Fucking London Open, what is that? That's only valid for currencies, and they're not even valid anymore. But I digress. So if you're going to learn this stuff on your own, you need that broad-based knowledge first without trading. You have to discipline yourself not to trade, because as soon as you start trading, you're going to build bad habits, and you're going to build, oh, this is what I think. You know, I had quite a few people who have called me and have not taken courses, but have communicated with me through email, because they think they know what they're doing, because they trade in the stock market and now they want to trade currencies. Or they're doing real estate and they think they're going to do currencies. So they're probing me for information. And the information that I'm giving them is compatible with what they think they know from their stock market background. You know, I'll be talking about something and they'll go, oh yeah, when in the stocks we're talking about the volume and the what do they call that, the volatility, the VIX index, and you know, and I'm trading options against doing a condor spreads against the stocks, and so I understand how that moves, and so that's how, you know, that's how we do it. And I shut them off. I said, well, you need to forget all that stuff if you're going to come into currencies. You need to just forget it. But they can't, or they won't. And so I go, look, I really can't help you. I can't. You're not listening to what I'm saying, because you're too wrapped up in what you learned there to be able to open your mind to the simplicity that trading really is. You're just trying to make it complicated. And whether you're successful or not, you're wrong in trying to make it complicated. So the two ways of learning how to trade Forex are you can get a mentor in a course, and the two are bound together. It's very rare that you would find someone that will do consulting because they don't know how to consult. They know how to show. It's a show and tell. Oh, come and sit down with me and I'll show you my screen, and this is what I do and this is why I do it. You nod your head up and down because you're not doing it. You're just watching them do it. You're not going to learn that way. That's not education. That's trying to teach a monkey to do something. I can teach my dog to sit, but he doesn't know why he's sitting. It doesn't do any good. So be very careful of the education that you receive from somebody, books, manuals, courses, consulting, or whatever. But that's the way to go. You got to find somebody who you can trust that can lay all this stuff out for you and saves you time, but is not trying to teach you their system, because their system won't work for you. I know that. I've taken a course from one of the preeminent Forex people in the country. I couldn't duplicate what he was talking about. It was very simple, but I couldn't duplicate it. Couldn't make it work because I didn't see it through his eyes. As well as he described it, he couldn't talk about the stuff around it. All he could talk about was the thing that you were supposed to do. And that doesn't help me because his view of the thing he's doing is different than the view that I might have. And so he didn't show me how to view something, he just showed me the something. And it doesn't work that good for you. So there's that methodology that you can use. Or you can try to do this stuff on your own, but you will have to have a lot of patience in order to do the work necessary. I'm telling you, it's about a 4-year journey if you're going to do this yourself, and you'll probably spend 3 years of that just reading and studying and learning what's going on, and then maybe you might start going into a demo account, and you'll probably want to stay in that demo account for a while. I wouldn't suggest that, but you're going to go into demo and you're going to learn bad things, and then you're going to go into real account and you lose all your money. Look, I'm a pretty smart guy. When I started out in 2007 studying the currency market, I did it as an academic exercise, not to learn how to trade it, because I was involved in real estate at the time, and I was still working as a software engineer. So I just did it as an academic exercise. I didn't open a trading account until 2012. So 2007 to 2012, I read all the books. I was writing computer simulations. I was trading in demo accounts, probably 3 years before that, just trying to match up the demo work with some of the simulations that I was doing. So in 2012, I opened up a mini account, a couple of $1,000, and thought I was a hero, because in my simulated trading account, I was up 15% a month for 8-10 months at a line, in line. So, and again, I had years, not just months, but years and years of demo playing. And I lost that $2,000. I thought, man, okay, well, I put another $2,000 in and tried to tweak the things the way that I thought they needed to be tweaked based on the education that I had been exposed to, because I was trying to learn on my own. I thought my education was good. I've got pretty good education, bachelor's in physics, almost a minor in math, and all the other crap that I told you that I know. I lost that $2,000. I said, I must need more education. And so I spent from 2013 to 2018 or 19, something like that, getting more education. I opened a $45,000 account, and within 4 months, 6 months, I'd lost $40,000. I said, this is stupid. This is just stupid. And I backed away from it, and I said, I'm not stupid. What's the problem? It must be the education that I've consumed. I blanked my mind of it all, because I can do that from my martial arts training and meditative process and stuff. And I stepped back from it, and I used my software engineering skills to look at what's the problem I'm trying to solve. I was trying to solve the wrong problem to start with. And number two, even when I looked and found what the real problem was, I had been approaching the solution of the problem in the wrong way. But through my software engineering, I said, oh, wait a minute. This is really simple. Here's the problem. Now I got to break that problem up into separate, individual, smaller problems that I can solve because the market is too complex. And I wrote one rule for each of the 3 problems that I identified. The first rule has 4 conditions. The other rules, doesn't matter, it has a couple of conditions only. And all of those are sequential, so I'm not involved in any kind of matrix permutation of if I have 3 conditions that need to be met, I've got 21 different permutations, I can put those conditions in. I didn't have any of that because I knew how to structure the solution to problems. And I've used those rules in that form since 2019 or whatever when I get in. That doesn't mean that I haven't not suffered large losses. I have. But I was trading for a different purpose at that point than anybody else would be trading. And if you look at my other videos, that's all explained. But I'm just cautioning you on, regardless of how smart you are, how educated you are, or whatever, if you get off on the wrong path, it's going to lead you to the wrong conclusions. And I'd hate to see that happen to you. But those are the 2 options you have to learn. You can learn on your own, or you can learn to trade Forex by finding an educator or consulting or something like that. Those are your 2 options available to you. I would suggest that you get some help as opposed to trying to do it on your own, but that's up to you. And I hope that this discussion, which has gone on too long a video, has been helpful for you in at least saying, okay, I've got 2 ways I can go about doing this. Let me look at the problems that would unfold in both of them, the pros and cons of both of them, and then select for yourself the method to go about how you're going to learn how to get yourself to the point where I talk to the people that I have called and asked me what I'm trying to do for them is I'm trying to give you a view of the skills within 4 weeks, what that process is that will enable you to replace your job income. Now, you're not going to replace your job income on a $10,000 bank, but you know the methodology. Oh, you're not going to buy a house for $10,000 either. So, I mean, you just need, the bigger the house that you want to buy, the more money you need for your down payment, right? So I'm not saying that you're going to be able to replace your job income in 4 weeks. You'll understand the principles of how to do that, and then I show you how to start working through and compounding your account, how you add to it, and how you make that account grow. In fact, one of the courses that I have is 225-page advanced problem solutions in Forex, and 40 pages of that has to deal with how to trade large lot size Forex positions. And we talk about that from a consulting standpoint. So that's the complexity. You do something simple to start, and then you peel the onion back and it gets a little more complex, and you peel the onion back and it gets a little more complex. And if you've written good rules up front, you don't have to change those rules. You just get smarter, and the income that you make goes up because you're now learning how to trade better. Not how to trade Forex better, but how to trade better. Peter Rose, Longwood Currency Trading. Have a great day and have a great trading day.